right, good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's roughly 5:01, maybe 5:02. Let's start with the roll call. So let's start with commissioners. I'm Don Griffin. I'm present.
David Walter.
Steve Scamboleri.
Cindy Canarney.
And staff present.
Jeff Underwood, Treasurer, Controller.
Doris Sims, Hand Department.
Christina Finley, Hand Department.
Larry Allen, Legal Department.
Okay, thank you. Reading of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for December 16th, 2019?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Examination of claims. Is there a motion to approve the claims register for December 27th, 2019 and December 13th, 2019?
I'll so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. The motion carries. Examination of payroll registers. Is there a motion to approve the payroll register for December 20th, 2019 and December 6th, 2019?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. The motion carries. Next, we'll have reports of officers and committees. Is there a director's report?
Well, I want to wish everybody Happy New Year. Looking forward to working with you coming year, and that's the end of my report.
Okay. Is there a legal report?
No, at this time I'll be available to answer any questions the commissioners have.
Okay. Is there a treasurer's report?
There is. I'd like to say that we were able to come to an agreement on the kiln, so thank you for your authority to get that done. So there were just a couple of small terms that we got figured out, and I believe everything was signed on the 31st. So thank you all for that. Secondly, I'm sure you're aware of the judge's ruling on 4th Street. We will have more to report on that in a future meeting. However, we will continue to push ahead. Trades District, there's no impact on that. So that work started at the end of last week. So they're going to start fencing. They've been fencing. They're going to start ripping and tearing, and hopefully seeing things come up out of the garage. So, and ditto to what Doris said.
Final price on the kiln? 50 still?
Still 50.
Yeah, still 50.
Okay. Thanks.
And everything, yeah, it looked.
Yeah, it was a right of first refusal, and that ended up being at 15 years. Did we sell it?
20 years.
20 years, yeah. And then the buyback price was the two.
Buyback price was the average of the two appraisals, I believe, for the higher of an offer.
Right.
There is also a 10-year use restriction on it, and Don had brought this up as a concern. There's also a provision in it that should someone try to assign the agreement to another entity, it requires the written permission of the RDC first.
That's a thing what we haven't been doing. It's to get around things. They, instead of selling the property, they'll sell their LLC to someone else and skirt around the. And so yeah, we
Good thought.
thought about that. And, yep. Thank you, Larry. Always looking out. All right. Is there a CTP update report?
Just besides the kiln, we're continuing to work on the admin building, so that's kind of the next project up, and we would hope to have an agreement for you in the first quarter of this year.
Cool. Any other questions from commissioners? All right, thank you for your reports, folks. Next, we'll do new business. The first item of business is election of officers. So we need to figure out what we're going to do as far as officers for.
Larry, do we need a motion for a slate or for individual offices? Or how do we do this? I can't
So
remember.
last year we did them individually.
Did we?
We didn't do a slate.
Okay. So with that, I'd like to nominate Don Griffin for president.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed? Okay.
You get no love, I tell you.
All right.
I'm trying to save it.
I would like to note that the treasurer is not a voting member of the Redevelopment Commission, although he is your staff person and serves at your pleasure.
And he
Thank
did
you,
say
Counsel.
no, so
Thank you,
I need to
Counsel.
remember this. A motion carries. thank you. Next, we need a vice president. Is there a motion, is anybody want to do, you can't.
Nope.
Nope, she can't. Who we got left?
You two, one of you two.
Well, you, or, I mean, Lee.
And whoever the
Lee's
count-
still a member.
Leah's still a member, so we could, yeah, vote him in absentee if we want. What do you guys?
Eric, you mean?
Eric.
Oh,
Eric.
yes.
Okay, I'm
I'm
like-
sorry.
I did that too.
Eric,
I was gonna say, come back.
Yeah.
Lee's
His wife,
Sorry.
yeah.
And she sits on one of our other
Yeah.
ones.
So, yeah, Eric Eric Sandwees or,
Or
or
Donna.
David, yeah, I mean, I'll volunteer if you need a volunteer.
yeah,
But somebody has to nominate.
okay.
Can I nominate myself?
I'd like to nominate you.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
Everybody second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, now we need a treasurer? Secretary.
You got a treasure.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so we need a secretary.
Yeah.
So is anybody interested in that? Are you? you're-
What does that
You sign
entail?
off and
You
affirm
You sign.
things.
All the resolutions.
That's all you
Okay.
do, seriously. They take all the minutes, they do all the meeting summaries.
Well, by process of elimination, perhaps, that, I'm happy to do it.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
I feel a little left out.
Does it, you're leaving.
I know.
That's
No.
why, you've been my vice president for a while, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense
Yeah.
though.
All right.
It's been a well-run ship too. Okay,
Thank you.
so I need to nominate Elizabeth, is that right?
Second?
Cindy,
Cindy.
Cindy?
Or Cindy,
Elizabeth,
excuse me.
Cindy.
should introduce her.
Could you do an introduction? Or could
Well,
you?
yeah, can you introduce yourself and tell us about you?
So, Cindy Canarney. I've been in southern Indiana my entire life. I'm currently a banker with First Financial Bank, so currently serve as market president for the organization. I'm involved in various organizations around town and incredibly excited to learn more about this and be a part.
Fantastic.
Well, I'll say we've needed a banker back on the commission for a long time, so. Yeah, with that, I will.
Just a note before you vote, just so you have full, that First Financial is the bank for the city, so RDC funds are
Deposit
deposit
there.
at First Financial. So
Does that
there's-
create any concerns from a legal perspective, just for the record?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We kind of have run this to ground for things like escrow accounts and things like that. If there's needs to be a neutral third party appointed to sign off on our escrow accounts, that would be where it would come up. Typically, though, it's not.
Okay,
gonna be an issue.
just want to read that into the record.
Okay.
All right,
So, a
nomination.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None.
Can't
Motion
vote
carries.
for myself, but
Welcome.
thanks.
All right, is that,
Can we
that's,
tell her really now what's all involved?
Yeah, I know. You guys can tell me everything now.
don't worry, it'll be in the paper. All right, so, I think that concludes, that part of my business. And, the next item of business is Resolution 20-01, approval of 2020 RDC meeting schedule. And I think we had you sent out an revised one. And everyone got that?
Yep,
Okay.
So September 7th becomes September 8th, correct?
Yeah, September 7th is Labor Day.
Right. So with that, I'll move approval as amended,
I'll second.
or as corrected, whichever Larry tells us, so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None, the motion carries. And I'm sorry, I didn't, in regards to this resolution or the other, did anybody from the public want to speak in regards to that? Okay, thank you. All right, next item of business is Resolution 20-02, approval of maintenance fund for RDC properties.
Yes, so this is our annual provision. As you'll remember, the court case that does not allow us to use TIF funds, property taxes, to pay for maintenance. So we have an account 444 that we deposit unrelated revenues into, primarily rental income. So right now, 627 North Morton and the Bunger Robertson property is the monies that are going into that. The Gentlemen's Club money was going into that. They are now, that lease is now expired, so we'll not get any more payments from them. And then this allows us to pay for maintenance items related to properties that you own. And just a couple of notes that anything that's more than $5,000 must be specifically approved by you all in advance. Any utility bill that exceeds $2,500 in a month would have to, we have to inform you of that as well. I don't believe we've come close to either one of those. And then the controller shall not directly pay for or reimburse expenditures totaling more than $100,000, again, without your approval out of that. So this will be for from January 7th, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
Speaking of the Gentlemen's Club, have we filed our exemption for that, so we don't?
We will.
It'll start January 1st, so
Okay.
that's something that'll be proactive.
Okay, cool. Because it's now,
It's not wholly city owned, it's not used for a private purpose.
yeah. All right. Any questions?
Yep.
Nope.
Move approval of resolution 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? None. The motion carries. Next item of business is resolution 20-03, approval of First Amendment to inspection contract for Second Street / Bloomfield Road multimodal improvements.
And Roy's going to present on this. I did want to make a note that prior to the meeting, he alerted me to a funding deadline issue, so the resolution has been amended to extend the funding deadline through December 31st, 2020 to allow them time to do all the invoicing. I'm sure Roy will fill you in on the details, but I just wanted you to note that substantive change to the actual resolution itself.
So this is under point 3?
Yes, 2003.
Okay.
Thank you. Roy Ayton with the Planning and Transportation Department. In October 2018, the board and the commission agreed to fund a inspection services contract for our West Second Street Bloomfield project. That's the improvements that we did from Patterson over to Landmark, new signal, multi-use path on the north. We're nearing completion. We're still waiting for a few items to be completed on that project. During the course of construction, there were a couple delays that were inherent in the project. Biggest one, I think, was waiting for our signal poles to come in, the lead time on those. But those delays called our inspection contract to run longer. So this addendum that we're looking at here today is we're requesting an additional $18,434.29 to pay our inspection company, HWC, for their services to get us through closeout for the project, which we anticipate should be in the next coming months. This is an NDOT federally funded project, so there's an entire closeout process that goes along with it. And it'll take probably another 3 or 4 months past that for us to finish all the paperwork for the project.
Yeah, and that's typical for NDOT projects that have federal money, that we have to have this inspection service. And it's continuous during the construction, whether there's somebody out there or not.
That's correct. Yeah, but it's a requirement for us to use federal funds that we have to hire an inspection. They have to be certified in order to inspect the project, so.
Okay. No questions for me.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion, we approve resolution 20-03.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you. Well, that can, we got something.
I thought my brain's finally catching up with me. Just to let you know, Don will be representing you all on the Bloomington Hospital Technical Review Committee. We sent out an RFI for master planners. We received 23
Wow.
responses.
That is a lot.
And we've narrowed that down to 8 firms that we're gonna bring in for interviews on the 16th and 17th. So we'll update you on that process. Obviously, any contract would all come back to you all as well. And then another issue I'm sure you followed is the expansion of the convention center, of which you bought the Margaret Robertson property. It appears that there was a breakthrough in the last couple of weeks of the year, and both parties are moving forward with CIB, a Capital Improvements Board. That will be accompanied by an interlocal agreement, so we're down to working on the details of that. So once that's out, we will let you know. But I did want to inform you that part of that is that both parties have agreed, and of course, we would come back for formal approval of you all, that other than property for parking garage would be transferred to the CIB. So obviously, you've got a couple of parcels over there that may come into play for that, but we'll keep you up to date on that as we move forward.
Are there any major issues still lingering out there?
It's just working on the details.
Details.
I don't believe there are, but, you know, the devil's in the details. So the draft's being circulated between the parties. So I think the idea is we have a meeting scheduled for later this month, is that would be kind of the kick off the formal approval process by everybody.
Have they created their,
No, they've waited so that we can get the interlocal, so we can approve. In the spirit of cooperation, they elected not to go ahead and create the CIB until we have the details of the CIB, or the interlocal worked out. So the idea is once we have that, that'll be the underlying document that talks about who gets to do what, and it'll involve both the CIB, the Capital Improvement Board, and the CVC, the Convention and Visitors Commission, that receives the innkeeper's tax and how that gets allocated. So there's, in principle, an agreement that both the city and county will have equal representation on both of those boards, since they both pay an integral part for that. So now it's just working out the details, because the CVC and the CIB both have state statute and local ordinances related to them. Is this interlocal will govern between the parties how all of that operates. So once we have that in place and ready to be approved by the various bodies, then they'll create the CIB as well.
okay. Can you make a note that I think we would like somebody from a redevelopment commissioner on one of those boards. So I know.
I will
We would-
pass that
I mean-
along.
I mean, we've
The-
got
Yeah.
a banker,
I think
we've got-
the current intent is that there would be no elected officials nor employees of either the city or county or related bodies. That would not include you all.
Okay.
That couldn't serve on any of the bodies. So the idea is to really take the political elements out of it. So board members would be available to be appointed to those, one of those.
Okay.
They,
I think on the CIB, don't they have to be a certain number of one political party and a certain number of another?
not necessarily, it's worded a little bit differently, but yes, it says there has to be, if the controlling party can only have so many appointments, and then it has to be non-party members.
How are we
So-
gonna find someone in Bloomington? I'm teasing.
Independent.
That's a joke.
But they can be independent, can they not?
It just says they can't be of the majority
majority
political party.
So
they can be-
theoretically, they could be independents.
Yeah, they could be agnostic for that matter, yeah. So
Alright.
those appointments will come after the agreement is signed.
Okay. All right, cool.
I guess I will add, because, I'm waking up too. Is that we received proposals on the Night Moves property, received 9 proposals. Last month, we've reviewed them, we've kind of lowered those down to 4 that we're gonna invite in to find out more information about the proposal of the housing development that they hope to do on the property. We're looking to update the appraisals on the Night Moves property, and so maybe that will be brought to the commission at the next meeting, but I'll keep you updated.
And their lease ends
It's
December
over. It ended
31st.
December 31st
2019.
of this year.
Yes, they are.
last year, yeah.
So the property is actually 1730 South Walnut.
Yes.
There's no business there currently.
Yep, had a nice picture in the paper of them taking down the sign.
Yeah. So we can say city property, the city property at.
That's nice. All right, cool. Any other things that anybody wants to mention? All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.